This week is exciting for football fans. Tonight is July 28th, and we're only days away from the Thursday night Hall of Fame preseason game between the Chargers and the Lions in Canton, Ohio. Football is back, baby! But until then, we'll be running a Dynasty Rookie 4-round 12-team, 1-quarterback PPR mock draft this evening. This should be an interesting opportunity to review rookie values this late in the summer. Coming to you live on Optimus Fantasy, this is Monday Night Mock Drafts with Evan. Ladies, gentlemen, and all those in between and outside of it, welcome to Monday Night Mock Drafts with Evan, right here on Optimus Fantasy, coming to you every Monday evening until week 1 of the NFL season. I am your host, Evan Sather. Tonight, I have a talented and sometimes controversial fantasy analyst joining me. He appears every Monday at noon on the Fantasy Recap Show on the FantasyNow Plus YouTube channel, their flagship show. He's also a co-host of No Holds Barred, a professional wrestling podcast on the Fins Talk Sports Network. Please welcome to the show, Josh Kimmel. Josh, how are you, my friend?
What an introduction. Oh my goodness. Now let me tell you guys, one of those things he said were not true. Controversial was sometimes. Talented. Oh, you got me blushing, man. I just showed up. What's going on, man?
Yeah, it's good to see you again, man. So, I guess there's a bit of a small elephant in the room type of thing that I wanted to get out of the way, but as before we get the rest of the show going here. So those of you who have watched me long enough in any fantasy space know that I was also a team member of FantasyNow Plus with Josh. As of this past Thursday, I've officially resigned from FantasyNow Plus. The reasons I did so, I prefer to remain undisclosed as it was a bit personal. Nothing to do with Josh, thank goodness. Otherwise, I think it would be even more awkward, where it's like, I hate you, Josh. Hate you too. Want to come on my show anyway? Sure. But I can at least say with certainty that it didn't end on horrible terms. So, you know, doors are always still open, and we're always here. We're always ready to enjoy fantasy football no matter in what form. And so, Josh, in addition to the FantasyNow Plus stuff that we haven't really done a lot together in the 3 months I was on the team, Fins Talk Sports Network also has the professional wrestling show No Holds Barred, which I did join you, and I did join you for at least one episode when we did Halloween Havoc 98 in review.
Yes, that was a very, very fun show, very in-depth show. We reviewed Halloween Havoc 1998, and we are actually trying to get you back on for a TNA show. We've just been so busy with, I don't know if you've heard, wrestling's on every single day now, and they have pay-per-views on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, twice on Sundays. So we've just been booked with covering all these shows, and then the passing of Hulk Hogan, and that show we just did on Saturday night. Love Hogan or hate Hogan. He was very controversial, as you would say, and we got a lot of views on that show. So if you want to check that out, we had some guests come in and talk about Hogan. And man, wrestling's just been on fire lately, and it's gotten you back into it a little bit, I can see.
I wouldn't say I watch it on a regular basis, but I believe it was last night, I tuned in for a bit to the Women of Wrestling show, which I have never actually seen live. I just had it on in the background in my bedroom as I was just winding down for the night. But it's just so good to see a high production show featuring women in professional wrestling, which just didn't get that kind of momentum back in the 90s when it was at its peak.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that 2 weeks ago, we had a show on Could Professional Wrestling Work, which is an all women show. Man, I could with all the women that we have now. It's just a different era, man. Think about it. Everything has changed. Just everything. Look at what we thought was cheap back then. Not cheap, but low grade. Oh, you're watching a movie on this channel. Well, now that channel puts out good content. Think about all these things that are growing. Now it goes into the wrestling world as well. Watch a TNA broadcast. Watch an AEW broadcast. They're high level as well. It's just the technology we have. Everything looks good these days. So, and it could work with all the women. You would just have to do it the right way.
Anything that gives an extra opportunity for anybody to get into professional wrestling is always good. Even your local indie shows that may not get a lot of TV time and you just know about it from the region where you live, that's always fun too.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to be born and raised in Tampa. You're in Chicago, which is a huge wrestling city. The wrestlers actually live and train here, so it's not not normal thing to drive by and see Ric Flair or Hogan. Not anymore. Hogan was just at the Total Wine by my house about a month ago. I opted not to go see him. I don't want real American beer, but I could have gone, so like I grew up in this world of like wrestlers. So that's why I think I'm drawn to it so much, Evan, because it's just been around me. We always, oh, the Briscoes are down the road, or oh, this is down the road. Just became a thing here in Tampa. It's what you do. I don't know, man. I just love pro wrestling. Almost, hey, if you, shocking to everyone watching, don't put this against me. If you gave me the choice, Josh, you could only do fantasy football or wrestling for the rest of your life, like talk about it, broadcast about it, watch it. I'm picking pro wrestling 10 out of 10 times. No debate.
Even if it has NFL or former NFL players on, like Pat McAfee?
Pat McAfee wore out his welcome a little bit. But, he's good in less is more. Less is more. That's true with Pat McAfee. And it's true with Tyler Halliburton and the NBA players as well. Less, and it's true with Jelly Roll. That's all I'll say. Less is more.
I will definitely agree with you on all of those as well. Before we get on this runaway train about professional wrestling, I at least wanted to get into what we're going to do with this Dynasty mock draft this evening. So the way I have everything set up is that it's just 4 rounds. It's simulated to be like your typical home Dynasty leagues, whether they're 10 teams, 12 teams, whatever size. We're just going to do 12 this evening. 4 rounds, rookies and vets included. So we'll have to see if anybody surprises us with a veteran pick that's available. This will also be with kickers and DST, and actually I may be lying a bit here because I just realized you can't do regular veterans here as well, but that's typically the way that I do my rookie picks, is that I'll allow the waiver wire to be drafted as well, which we're not going to be able to mock it this evening, so I apologize for that small lie, but we'll be sticking with rookies, and that normally under normal circumstances this would also include kickers and DST, but that's not going to be high enough in the ADP, but hey, you never know who might surprise us.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
So you said in your home league drafts, you draft the veteran players. So when do these players get locked, and when are they unable to be picked up via waiver wire, free agency? So what I'm asking is, because I do the same thing in one of my leagues, but we do the first 3 rounds, all rookies, and then rounds 4 through 6, free for all, whoever was undrafted and the veterans left over from last season.
That's essentially what we do too. And funny enough, my rookie draft was yesterday evening as well. And this is what I mean. So after the season is over and I transition the league in January to the following season, that's when everything is locked. Trading is allowed, but you just can't pick anybody else up. So then we have our rookie draft at the end of July, whatever the last Sunday is, just because that's good for everybody between vacations and family and whatnot. So this was what it looked like last night. And after we complete it, this is what happens. Everything is open. You can scramble to pick up anybody that you didn't get to draft after the 4th round. And Jamie, I'm glad you mentioned the Tyler Loop part, because Tyler Loop did get drafted in our home rookie draft league at the 310. If you want to take him with the 101, then, well, you better hope he's the next Janikowski. But even then, depending on your league settings, I'm not sure how well that'll do for your scoring. So before we get going here, Josh, what do you think of this home rookie draft that took place in my home league last night?
Home leagues are so much fun because you don't know what's going to happen. You just don't. But this looks pretty standard, minus the Higgins pick there, right between Ted and Harvey, right? Judkins fell, which I expect. Honestly, I thought Judkins was going to fall a lot further. I thought we were going to see him in the middle of the 2nd round. But honestly, everything is up to par. I'm assuming it's 1 quarterback. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yep. So Cam Ward went where he should go. Maybe a little too soon. But not hating it with that team because he has Drake May, Lamar. Maybe, didn't need it. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm minimized, so I can't see who traded for him. But yeah, it's pretty solid. A home dynasty league, I could never. My friends would never. I try to get my friends in a dynasty so hard. For the past 10, 15 years, nobody will pick it up. So I'm just stuck here alone talking to myself.
It's especially hard getting a home dynasty league going, never mind a home redraft league, because once you get above the age of 30, when everybody gets married, starts families, has a career that takes them to a whole different state if you're in the United States, a lot of my friends don't even live in Illinois or even the Chicagoland area anymore, and it's just hard to get everybody together physically. But I'm just glad we have stuff like this to keep us together. I'll just highlight that I only had 2 picks because I sold too many of them over the last several years, just trying to win now. But I'm just glad I got Caleb Johnson and Woody Marks. Any quick thoughts on either of these 2 guys, Josh?
Man, the cat's out of the bag, Caleb. I didn't know you were that high on him. For the 3 months we worked together and I saw your rankings, I never saw that you were that high on Caleb. I love it. I feel like that is great value there. Now, let me ask you this. Judkins didn't get all this, nonsense, and he was at camp, and everything is on the up and up. Would you take him there, or would you have left, or would you have still taken Caleb?
If Judkins hadn't gotten in trouble, you mean? I'm sorry.
Yeah. If he didn't get in trouble, everything was clean. Everything is like
Yeah.
we're in a normal life, and no one's in trouble. Would you take Judkins there, or would you still stick with your guns and take Caleb?
So I haven't updated my rookie rankings in a long time, but I had Quinshawn Judkins as my RB2 before we discovered the domestic violence and battery case that he had committed. So we had Genty go, we had Hampton go, and then Henderson win at the RB3, got sniped in front of me. I just wanted Caleb Johnson over RJ Harvey because I believe in the Steelers' run game more than the Broncos' run game, which is kind of weird to say because the Steelers have struggled to run the ball, especially where Najee Harris didn't have good guards helping him out, and he would have 1,000-yard seasons, and it still was a struggle, and splitting with Jaylen Warren just because of what he offers. But I don't know how much longer Jaylen Warren will be with the Steelers, and I like Caleb Johnson's potential from his Iowa days, so I figured he's a good shot to take.
Yeah, I like what you said about Caleb Johnson. And here's my one worry, and we'll get into Aaron Rodgers a little bit later, spoiler. But I will say this. They want to protect him. And if Caleb cannot pass pro, Caleb ain't seeing the field. So he better keep, Aaron Rodgers' shirt clean. That goes along with the offense line as well. But they're going to bring the blitz up there in the AFC North that they always run that. I'm not going to say the bad words. But
appreciate it.
He better pass pro. He better pass pro quick. And he better learn it because if not, he's going to be sitting on the bench. You got to protect that 40-year-old quarterback.
I just can't think of what other running backs they're going to have with pass protection because Jaylen Warren's not good at it either.
No. And didn't they just cut CPAT? Who else they got down there? Mr. Tevin. Who was it? Is it Trey Sermon? They got Trey Sermon back there. Yeah, I don't know no shotgun this year. All under the center. Can't wait.
Yeah, that's going to be the Browns game playing out of shotgun. But before we get too deep into the Browns here, because I don't really want to talk about them, I think it's time to get this rookie draft started. Josh, good sir, are you ready?
Let's get it going.
Let's do it. I'm going to go ahead and click start draft, and we're going to get going with our good friend Jamie Perogue, Big Game James, to kick us off at the 101. We have 60 seconds on the clock tonight, being that it's only 4 rounds, and I figured we can kind of afford to take our time because this isn't going to take too long. So he went Genty at 101. Josh, is there any compelling argument you could make to not take Ashton Genty? Are there any cons you can find about the guy?
Not in a 1 quarterback league. I can make you're going to hate this, but I can definitely make the argument in a super flex league. Don't pass on the quarterbacks. What are we doing? Let's be smart here. But I'm not doing that even in a super flex league. No, Genty is the slam dunk 101. I find no flaws. I find no problems with this. Could you? I cannot.
I cannot either. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he struggled this year out of the gate with the Raiders, being that their offensive line is suspect. They don't really have any other weapons aside from Brock Bowers. And there's a lot of people that have been worried about Brock Bowers' tight end 1 season last year where, oh my God, they drafted Genty. He's going to take away so much work from Brock Bowers. But I'm just sitting here like, hold on a second, folks. Ashton Genty is going to be helping Brock Bowers' value. So what do you think about that sentiment, Josh? Are you in agreement or disagreement?
I'm in it. Listen, I'll never say a running back, no matter how many pass catches no matter how many targets he demands, he's going to take away from your stud tight end, period, ever. Like, he is the main deep threat down there. Genty's not the guy going out there running post routes and stuff. No, it's Brock Bowers. Why are we worried? I'm not worried. Has someone said that? That's my question. Listen, I'm not on social media, people. I'm not. I'm there like once a week. I show up, I say hi, I'm out. I don't know what you people are saying or what people are saying about these players. That's ridiculous, dude. That's one of the worst takes I've ever heard. I'm just going to say it. It's one of the worst takes I've ever heard.
So Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I said Josh is controversial at the beginning of the show, because the one thing Josh and I have in common is that we are not afraid to be blunt about anything fantasy football related. And I mean, more or less in my case, really anything in life. I don't know about you, Josh, but we are very blunt with what we have to say about fantasy football, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm here for it.
It just, I think we create, I said this, I was on a show today at noon, our show, my show. And I think that we created too many problems, too many advanced stats, and we're all just talking ourselves in circles, and we all forget the plot. The plot is just to win fantasy football. The plot's not to get, we just make things up to make things more complicated, to sound smarter, to have more content put out. That's not the way it should be. We should be more, it's, Evan, that's why I don't go on social media. I cannot take it anymore. I cannot take it. And I added to the problem. Dang, I just got sniped. I add to the problem because I'm one of those people too, where I don't let things go. And you probably know that about me. And it's, I just remove myself from the situation. I'll tell you that. But I'll go Caleb Johnson here. I want a Judkins.
Yes. So speaking of the Steelers, I have to get into this just because this is the one thing I know you the most for with all of your fantasy football takes, Josh. The Steelers starting quarterback for this year and probably this year alone is going to be Aaron Rodgers, 41 years old. 21st season, I believe, in the NFL this year. It's a long shot for Aaron Rodgers to end up being probably anything more than QB 15. I am much lower on Aaron Rodgers right now. I have him around QB 20, considering the weapons he's got with the Steelers and just his physical state. His arm is still at least accurate. I mean, the arm is the last thing that goes for all quarterbacks, but Aaron Rodgers just did not look that good as a New York Jet last season, despite finishing QB 15. I wanted to get this out of the way, Josh. I know you love Aaron Rodgers. You've called him the GOAT multiple times. I want to give you the floor here. Why are people like me wrong about Aaron Rodgers?
I don't think you guys are wrong. First off, I'm just going to say that. I don't think anyone's opinion on Aaron Rodgers is wrong because they are true, whether it be good or for the bad. Yes, does he bring his teammates down? Yes, does he maybe lack the enthusiasm and doesn't have the most performance as he did? Of course, he's 41 years old. But does he still command an offense? Can he still get the job done? Can he still get a team to the playoffs? I think so. Now, as far as fantasy goes, he's not going to be giving you guys top 10 weeks. He can't. He doesn't have it anymore. He has DK Metcalf, Jalen Warren, and he's old and busted, and it's going to be very, very cold there. He's always played in the cold. Whatever. But you're 41 years old now. I am 39 years old. And when my daughter puts the AC down to 68 degrees and it's 3 a.m., and I'm in Tampa, by the way, so I'm blazing hot. My bones hurt, and I'm 39 years old, and that's with the AC on. So I know Aaron Rodgers is going to be hurting there in Pittsburgh, but he's not as bad as you guys think he is. He's still going to be super efficient. He was top 10 in passing last year. It's 28 touchdowns, only 11 interceptions? Very little compared to most quarterbacks in the NFL. He's just not going to win you weeks. He's a solid quarterback too at this point in his career. But what I don't understand is the blatant disrespect he gets from everybody, just because why? He's a diva. He likes to go on podcasts and say this because he likes to go on whatever. Get over. He's a human being that he has his own rights to do whatever he wants. I just don't understand the hate. So I think that's why I back him up so much. He doesn't need a simp like me, but I'm going to be one because I just don't understand it. Why do we hate Aaron Rodgers so much? Can someone tell me a valid reason why we should exile and hate this man so much as much as we do? This went from a stats and production to a why are we attacked to my boyfriend? Like, leave him alone. That's
Leave Brittany alone. Except this time it's Aaron Rodgers. But I mean, Josh, you know me as a Bears fan, and of course I hate Packers players in general, but Packers fans hate Aaron Rodgers at this point. So the personality part is hard to look past when you look at somebody like Aaron Rodgers, who has to show up on the Pat McAfee show every week with whatever the heck he has to say and just whatever awful things he said along with Pat. I don't want to leave Pat out of the conversation either, as he's gotten in trouble for contributing a lot of awful words to say about, kids, quite frankly, but that's I don't want to keep going further down that rabbit hole. But I love everything you said about Aaron Rodgers at this point. I have him as a QB2 as well. He's at least good in a pinch if you really need a third or even a second quarterback, for that matter, if one of your guys gets hurt, if you're playing in Superflex, or if you're just, down on your luck with the quarterback position. But what does this mean for DK Metcalf, Jonnu Smith, and Pat Freiermuth at this point? Because I think that's probably their top pass catchers who are not running backs.
Yeah, DK Metcalf, I've never been a fan of DK Metcalf. He's so up and down, such a yo-yo type of player, but he's a really great NFL player. Not so much good for your NFL or for your fantasy football team. So I was already down on him. But once they signed Rodgers, I'm like, okay, he can, he's the only one there. And Rodgers is going to know how to get him the ball. The tight end situation, that's where I don't understand. That's what I don't know what to do. I'm assuming right now Jonnu is the guy, and I'm assuming we all assume that because you don't trade for a guy and not use him, and especially with the history with him and the coaching staff up there. So I don't know, man. I'm not drafting any. Full disclosure, I'm not drafting any of these guys. Like on my redraft teams, on my startup leagues I'm doing, I ain't drafting no Steeler except for Caleb Johnson, because honestly, it's not worth it. You're drafting a depreciating asset, something that's going to fail on you within the next couple of years, DK Metcalf included. I'm not touching those guys. Let me ask you this in Dynasty. In Dynasty, though, let me ask you this, because I know me and you don't see eye to eye on trade offers and in values. Would you take a guaranteed 2.01 to 2.03 for DK Metcalf right now for next year's draft?
If I need to rip apart the team, yes. But otherwise, I like DK Metcalf as the wide receiver 1 for the Steelers, because the Steelers' pass protection has always been better than their run protection. And I like that for DK Metcalf. I think a lot of people have forgotten about what great hands and athleticism and speed he has, because he just has not been doing well on the Seattle Seahawks. He's seemingly, I don't like to come down on people's personalities, whether they're a wide receiver diva or whatever, but I think a lot of people are claiming that he will fit in with Steelers culture compared to like Antonio Brown, George Pickens, Juju Smith-Schuster, and other guys who have been considered problems, I use in air quotes, in the locker room. But I really like DK Metcalf from a fantasy perspective as a wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside.
Yeah, I mean, that's where he's going to be. And he's going to give you those really, really good weeks. Of course, he's DK Metcalf, but I expect way more bust weeks this year. That's why I just do not want to touch him unless I can get him at my wide receiver 3-4, like the flex position where I'm starting 2 stud receivers. And DK is just kind of do I need him this week? Is it a plus matchup? Are they playing the Browns? Whatever. That's where I'm going to start him. But other than that, the wide receivers are so deep this year. I'm not even looking at DK Metcalf on my radar. But that's just I don't draft running backs or tight ends.
It's just that Aaron Rodgers needs somebody to throw the football to, not named Devontae Adams, Alan Lazard, or Randall Cobb. So I'm looking at the situation where it doesn't look like any of them are coming to Pittsburgh this year. I mean, I could be wrong because, they came to the Jets too, but I think he's going to have to put up or shut up with DK Metcalf if he wants to move this offense. But at the same time, speaking of rookie quarterbacks, we're seeing 4 of them go off the board, but I want to ask you about Will Howard as well, as we're stuck on the Steelers topic. Does Will Howard develop behind Aaron Rodgers?
Has anyone developed behind Aaron Rodgers? Has anyone? Jordan Love, I guess, but that's still in question. I have this thing on backup quarterbacks that are rookies, and I know people are going to hate me for this. I know it, and it's okay. Kyle Trask was going to be the starter in Tampa for like 5 straight years in a row now, and it still hasn't happened. And I told everyone from the beginning, and it's not a me told you thing or an I told you thing. I'm a caveman, but it's a thing. It's a thing we see a lot often. It's like, oh, is he going to develop? No, they never do. And when they do, they always pop early. That's what I find. So if Will Howard's going to pop, if he's going to show some promise, if he's going to show anything, it's going to have to be now. It's going to have to be right now, because if not, he's just going to fade away like every other promising, young quarterback sitting behind a veteran that does nothing. And I hate putting him in this, box. But at the end of the day, did anyone? I know you said it. I know you're on Blue Sky, not you, Evan. You person I'm talking to. I know you said it on Blue Sky or Twitter. Will Howard this, Will Howard that. And I was here from the moment Rodgers was available. Will Howard nothing. Rodgers will be there 1,000%. You know that, Evan. You saw me say it 1,000 times. If they believed in Will Howard, if he had any capability of starting, they wouldn't have wasted their time with Aaron Rodgers. That's what it tells me. So that's my take on that. If they had any capability of winning, being a sub 500 team with the possibility of getting to the playoffs with Will Howard, they would have not wasted their time with Aaron Rodgers. Period.
I just think they had to go get Aaron Rodgers at that point because they failed to get Russell Wilson back because they didn't seem like they really wanted Russell Wilson back. They preferred Justin Fields, but Justin Fields said, screw you guys, I'm going to go sign with the Jets because this is a better deal. Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers kind of seem like they're on the same trajectory as far as veteran quarterbacks go, where they still have really respectable arms, but nothing else about their game is even good. The Steelers have an offense that's built like Neil O'Donnell could walk into the Steelers right now and start at quarterback and still fit in with the scheme because the Steelers just do not change the way they run their offense. Like Ben Roethlisberger could go on retirement and still be the starter. And I feel like Will Howard matches that profile, which is why they drafted him, hoping that he could show something with this particular offense. But you know, developing behind a problematic Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if I really see it on the Steelers. I had Will Howard as my QB3 in my rookie rankings in a bad quarterback class. Do you? I can't remember your rankings off the top of my head, Josh. Do you have Will Howard that high as well or close to it?
I had him close up there, yeah, because like you said, it's bad. Like I don't want any of these guys. Cam Ward's the only player I'm touching. Now, I want to address something in the chat from Lou, Mr. Lou Brunson. Love your work, dude. Listen. You said nobody thought Kyle Trask was a starter or Kyle Trask was never going to be the starter in Tampa. He was drafted in the second round. I mean, listen, that's something. Yes, the Bucs drafted a kicker in the second round at one point in their life, but they also drafted a quarterback when they needed a quarterback, when they were making that transition from Jameis Winston, and then they got lucked out with Tom Brady because the whole Brian Flores and situation. They lucked out to get guess what, guys? If that whole situation didn't happen, Tom Brady would be a Miami Dolphin. They would have won a Super Bowl. Fins up, baby. And the Dolphins are the Buccaneers would have been stuck with Kyle Trask. But that didn't happen. We live in a bizarre world, but everything changed. So, yes, Kyle Trask was going to be the starter. And I think Will Howard would have been if they didn't land Aaron Rodgers. But would have they worked out? I highly doubt it. Because if they would have been there. That's my point with these quarterbacks.
Yeah, no, they definitely drafted Kyle Trask wanting him to be the guy. And I mean, I even took a late round draft pick on Kyle Trask when he was a rookie too, but where he was competing in training camp with Baker Mayfield, and I forgot the other quarterback before Baker Mayfield as well. But Kyle Trask just did not look good in training camp, and I'm not at all surprised that he just never won the starting job, and he's just sitting as a backup that's just waiting for the rookie contract to expire, and then they just let him go and move on, just as such as the way the NFL goes. So I kind of wanted to shift this into the Cleveland Browns as well. So we heard at Saturday's training camp for the Cleveland Browns, Kenny Pickett has an injured hamstring at this point. We don't yet know the severity. They're going to reevaluate him later this week. And the remaining healthy quarterbacks they have on the roster are Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, and Shadur Sanders. So if Flacco ends up with the winning the starting job, do you have any insight onto whether it's going to be Dylan Gabriel or Shadur Sanders backing up Flacco?
Man, if anyone knows, please give me the lottery numbers and please let me know, like, just let me know everything because nobody knows. I don't think they know in Cleveland. I think they know Joe Flacco is a starter here. Here's how I would do it. How disrespectful would it be if you were drafted before another person in the same position, right? Let's say you were drafted before this other person was drafted. Let's take the names out. And then out of just because this other person starts, and you're like, wait a minute, you picked me first. Like, what happened? They have to give this other kid a chance first before they do Shadur Sanders. They have to. I see a world where Sanders doesn't start a game this year. People see a world where he starts 10 or more this year. The bottom line is Not one of us know, but we do know Joe Flacco's playing. So that's what we have to prepare for as fantasy managers. Do we go grab Jerry Jeudy? Do we go grab a David Njoku? Do we go grab these players that were relevant with good Jameis Winston and good quarterback play? Or do we just say, screw it, don't want to touch him, I'm out? Because I don't think no matter what, if Joe Flacco's not playing, even if he is playing, that's a wasteland. And somebody asked me, are you happy having a Brown, a Steeler, and a Titan in my draft? I drafted 2 Titans, brother. Nope. You know what? Those are the best players available at the time. Unfortunately, I'm stuck with them. Gosh, that's so gross. That is so gross. I hate my drafts.
I mean, unfortunately, like typically the top rookies in every rookie draft are always going to be on bad teams just because they have the better draft capital. So if you're not happy with the fact that they have the Cleveland, the Pitt, or the 10, the abbreviation or next to their name, sometimes you just got to get over it because you have to believe in the talent.
That's, how long did you hold on to Trey Lance if you were a Trey Lance lover? I mean, that's totally off topic, but how long did you hold on?
It's a good question because ironically, I did trade for Trey Lance in my home dynasty league. Who did I give up to get him though? It was another quarterback that was never going to go anywhere, and along with Trey Lance was a tight end as well. I traded for Greg Dulcich thinking that he was going to be better than Albert O on the Denver Broncos, and I traded away Daniel Bellinger. So the trade ended up being a complete wash. So nothing of value was lost. I tried to believe in Trey Lance, hoping that he would have a better training camp, but he was terrible at training camp. So they had to go with Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy. And, well, at least I didn't give up anything too valuable.
Yeah. I'm still holding on to Trey Lance in like 2 leagues, by the way. And one of them is a Devy league, which I've never done a Devy league until this one. And
okay.
It was about 3 years ago. I drafted Nicholas Singleton a long time ago at Penn State. So this is my 3rd season going in. Anyway, the first thing I did was blow up my team because my team stunk. And I traded Kittle and like someone else for Trey Lance and someone else. And they're like making fun of me. No, Jameson Williams. I traded for Jameson Williams and Trey Lance for like, I gave up Kittle and someone. They're just making fun of me. And I'm like, God, did I screw up that bad? Yeah, Lance is a freaking disaster. That's why I think I'm so far, like I'm removed from just, I don't know. Once you're done, you're done. There's no comeback in the NFL. I feel like Josh Rosen, Trey Lance, like once you're done, once you're a quarterback in the NFL, Desmond Ridder, and you fail and everyone sees you fall on your face on national TV 17 straight weeks in a row, you're done. And I feel like it's hard to come back for that. The people like Geno and Baker and Sam Darnold, they did awesome. And I feel I respect them more than anyone in the NFL, like the comeback stories, because it is hard. We do our simple jobs every day, whether it be at your insurance company or your bakery or wherever you work. And you screw up somewhere, you feel small. Like you really do. Imagine doing it in front of 5 billion bajillions of people, and it's all over the internet, and your clips are being played over and over and over. Hell, I messed up today at work and I wanted to crawl in a hole. Imagine everyone making fun of you. Like, it's hard. Sam Darnold was seeing ghosts. Now he's seeing dollar signs. So good for Sam Darnold.
So Lou does bring up an interesting question. Has Darnold actually come back? When you have Justin Jefferson as your wide receiver, I think you have to say yes at that point because somebody's got to throw him the football, and he performed a lot better than the pastronaut Josh Dobbs in Minnesota. So, I mean, for the talent that Sam Darnold does have and for what was left at that for last year, I think you can make an argument that says yes because he won the starting job for Seattle.
You know, you could say that about Baker, right? Baker only did this because of Canellis, right? That's what it was. Canellis came here and he fixed Baker. Canellis left. Then they got somebody else and Baker did even better. Now Baker's going in without Canellis, without Cohen. Now who is he going to have now, right? Is he going to still ball? We trust Baker. So I guess we need to see Darnold do it one more year. We trusted Geno. Like, why can't we trust Darnold? He maybe learned something from Kevin O'Connell. Maybe he learned something, guys. We learn things every day. I hope you do. I learn something new every day. Hopefully he learns some things and learns some tips. Guess what? All it takes is work. We can all relate to that. If I go do training with someone and they help me get better at whatever I do at my job, I hope I take those things in my mind and I keep them in my head. So whenever I move on without them, I can continue to do those good things. I would hope, right? Let's believe in Darnold, man. Let's believe in our dreams.
So speaking of the Seattle Seahawks, Aiden White 234 drafted Jalen Milroe, who is now going to be the direct backup to Sam Darnold, and they also drafted a brand new tight end, which Brian Brock's gym selected Elijah Arroyo at the 303. With the way the Seattle Seahawks look as an offense, led by Jackson Smith and Jigba, signing Cooper Kupp after he just was straight up done with the LA Rams. What does the Seahawks look like to you with these new rookies and this current offense? Is it going to be enough for them to have another 10-7 season?
Man, I hate to say this, but I think JSN is being overdrafted, man. I hate to say it. I really do. But I don't see this offense scoring a lot of fantasy football points, real life points, fantasy football points. I just don't see it. And I'm worried. I really am worried about Arroyo. I'm worried about him getting all this hype coming up. Like today I read the notes on my show. Like, oh, they're moving around everywhere. They're where's he going to fit in? So I kind of raised my eyebrow. Okay, I'll pay attention, but I don't have high hopes. I don't know if JSN can continue what he did last year. I just don't know if he can do that. It's too much changing, Evan. When a lot of things change in one season, it's hard to stay constant. It's hard to stay consistent. And there's going to be a lot of changes throughout the season with this team. So I'm kind of worried about them, but they're going to have some stuff working out for him. Cooper Kupp, man. Do you hate him as much as I do? Freaking can't stand this guy. He is so good. He scores like 50 points a game, but he plays like half a game. It's like, okay, you gave me 25 points. Thanks.
Yeah, and if you thought to start him, you're bragging to your whole league about it. Like, yeah, I knew all along. I'm the smart one. And you probably started him because somebody else got hurt. You don't look satisfied.
I'm not satisfied with Lou Brunson's comments in this. I like Lou, man. But gosh, man, how? It's just so we us people, human society, we live in a now. Like, what happened to us now? Right? Tyler Higbee can go off for 5 games in a row and be the best tight end in the world. We all draft him in the first 5 rounds. He sucks. Like, we worry too much about streaks, runs, as they call it in wrestling. As Hulk Hogan says, everything's a run. Everything's a run. So Sam Darnold could have a run of 13 awesome games in a row, and then he has 3 bad games at the end of the season. You're like, oh, I'm out, brother. What about the 13 games before that? He had a bad run. And the same thing with Justin Fields, which we didn't get into yet. He had a good run at one point. He's living off that run so far. He's playing on 3 teams in the past, you can't stay on a team. That was his decision. But he went on a run as well. So I can't say, oh, all of his games sucked except for those 6 games in the middle. Those are really good. But outside was bad. We just don't know, not just Lou, not just me, not just everyone. We just react so hard on what just happened, and we don't digest the entire sandwich. I feel like we need to do that more.
Yeah, that's a very difficult thing for a lot of people, including fantasy analysts and even professionals for that matter, to remember to take a step back to really see what a player has to offer. But I mean, as much as football has such short lifespans, being that it's just so easy to ruin your whole body in just one play or one drive or whatever, it can be hard sometimes to just take a step back and look at the bigger picture for a player. For those of you listening on Spotify, Lou Brunson wrote, honestly, if we hadn't seen the wheels come off Darnold in Minnesota's final 3 games, I'd be fully on board with that. It's those 3 games where the wheels come off that give me pause. Seattle could let Noah Fant go because they have a new Noah Fant now, derogatory. I want to root for Arroyo. I'm just not on board this year. So, getting to Elijah Arroyo specifically before I go on to the Jets here, Josh, what do you think about his tight end prospect profile? Is it going to be him, or is it going to be AJ Barner, my favorite?
Well, since you're the host, I'm going to go AJ Barner. No, I think it's going to be a mixed match. I think we do see more Barner than we see Arroyo, but I think we see Arroyo flash. He's a rookie, dude. I don't really buy into the rookies tight end situation. I'm old, guys. I still think that tight ends need a time to develop. I'm not on the Sam Laporta and Brock Bowers game plan of just going awesome year one. So I will always fade tight ends, especially the rookies, even sophomores right away. So I'm going to fade Arroyo as well, Lou and you. But I'm not worried about them. It's just that's what tight ends do. They just don't I mean, we see two, we see three, we see three in the past 8 years, and we all think everyone's going to do it. It's crazy.
Yeah, and honestly, Josh, I mean, you and I are the same age. I'm 39 as well, and I think tight ends needing to develop in the NFL is the norm. It's not every day we see a Brock Bowers, a Sam Laporta, or, I mean, George Kittle, if I'm not mistaken, even hit the ground running too. There are just that breed of tight end that just are NFL ready, where common tight ends, where I don't think this is even a strong tight end class outside of Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland, but transitioning into the Jets, like I promised earlier, we've got Mason Taylor, who's my tight end 3. And as we know about Justin Fields, if you watch the Chicago Bears, Justin Fields loves hitting the tight end. He and Cole Kmet were like peanut butter and jelly when they were together. So with Mason Taylor probably needing time to get adjusted to the NFL level, he's got nobody to develop behind between like Stone Smart and Jeremy Ruckert. Where do you have Mason Taylor at this year with the Jets, with Justin Fields throwing to him? Do you have much faith in him as a sleeper tight end?
I sure do. And my reasonings, you're gonna be like, Josh, why'd you say that? And I'm gonna tell you why. I am today years old when I found out this man was related to the GOAT, the real GOAT, Zach Thomas, baby. Zach Thomas. I didn't know. I had no idea this was his. I had no idea. This is the GOAT. I'm a huge fan of Jason Taylor, huge fan of Zach Thomas. I was watching some videos to prep up for this show and some talks from rookies. I think you're going to throw out some guys that I didn't really have as much information as on. Guys, I am a redraft analyst. I'm a clown. I'm a redraft guy. Dynasty I play, but rookies are not my thing. It's not my specialty. But I fell in love with this guy for the past 10 minutes I watched of his clips. Holy crap, this guy's a beast. But in all seriousness, you're right. What else do they have there? They have Garrett Wilson. They have Taylor now. Breece Hall. Can we throw a flare out? Can we find Breece? Where are his targets? Can we get this man some targets? They need help there in New York. And I think it's going to be an all hands on deck situation. And I do think he's actually going to be one of these tight ends that do, come out. I would think he might have a better, Justin Bowerly's going to kill me, better season than Tyler Warren this year if Anthony Richardson plays all 17 games. I'm being serious.
You know, Josh, just getting back to the broader topic, like I think my favorite thing about the 3 months that I lasted with FantasyNow Plus is just how quick we could make Justin flip every time we'd say something negative about the Colts, just because he's been an Indianapolis guy for how long now, and having to follow along with the team and saying that Tyler Warren is not going to be a top 6 tight end this year. But with Tyler Warren, I do like his prospect profile a lot. I think he's going to add much needed passing presence that they haven't had since Dallas Clark was playing for the freaking Colts. So Tyler Warren, I think, is definitely going to get a healthy share of passes from, well, who's going to be starting at quarterback consistently for the Colts this year? Is it really going to be A-Rich this year? Are they going to have to reluctantly go with Danny Dimes? What do you think?
Were you in that draft where it was like 2 rounds were auction and the rest were just like blind auction? Were you in that draft? You weren't in that draft, were you?
I don't think I was.
Okay. In that draft, the rules were you have 2 rounds of auction. 2 rounds. And you can only get 2 players, so you're guaranteed 2 players. So it was pretty much spend $299 on the player you want and then $1 on the it was crazy. People didn't do that. I did it. I drafted. So you're guaranteed top 24 players are going to be drafted. Like, that's the rule. I'm stupid. I picked Josh Allen with $299, and then I picked Daniel Jones with $1. And people made fun of me. And this was forever ago. I'm like, guys, trust me. Daniel Jones is going to start more games than Anthony. Daniel Jones is better than Anthony Richardson, 1,000%. And they laughed at me and this and that. And now I'm getting trade offers for him. And the fact of the matter is, I think he will play more games than Anthony Richardson, because I think he's going to give them a chance to win more football games. And I think Anthony Richardson's soft. And I don't think he's ever going to learn. And I don't think he's going to fix his feet. I don't think he's ever going to get it right. I think he's just not made for the NFL. Great talent, great athlete. I just don't think he's there.
So the one thing I like to bring up with Anthony Richardson that I think a lot of people don't realize is that when he was in his college days at University of Florida, he was the starting quarterback for the team for 11, you heard that right, 11 total games where he was a starter. He barely got any college experience. The Colts decided to take a shot on him a couple of years ago in 2023 when he was drafted number 4 overall, thinking that he's got some real potential. I have no faith in. I mean, now I have to preface this with the fact that I do have a share of Anthony Richardson in my home Dynasty League, but I do not have much faith in Anthony Richardson developing on the Indianapolis Colts in particular. I don't think they have the right culture. I don't think they have the right coaching staff. I think if he landed on the Kansas City Chiefs, then he would absolutely flourish and give them much needed backfield boost. More speed out of their backfield that would have to worry about teams where he could threaten the rush and then go, oh, just kidding, Xavier Worthy, touchdown. But reality is he's an Indianapolis Colt. He has shown some flashes of potential, but without the right guy supporting him, I just don't think he has it. I think I have to reluctantly be on your side here, Josh.
And it's just so painful because you see the 80-yard bombs, the Alec Pierce out there, and they're making magic, and it's fun. It's just so not consistent. And when you're not consistent in the NFL and you're throwing interceptions and you're taking yourself out of games, you're not going to last long. I've never seen Daniel Jones take himself out of a game. Have you ever seen Daniel Jones take himself out of a game?
I've never seen a starting quarterback in the NFL take themselves out of a game for any reason unless they're injured, where he said he needed a break. Honestly, that's just indicative of just how bad the Colts culture is. So it makes me wonder now, with Jim Irsay no longer with us and now his oldest daughter now being the principal owner, I'm wondering if we're going to start to see a culture change with the Colts. I guess if you pardon the pun, culture change. That remains to be seen. I just don't have any faith in that offense this year. I think their defense may shock some people on some weeks, but I feel bad for Jonathan Taylor.
Lou got me. You got me, Lou. You broke me. You broke me on that one. Nope. But I've seen coaches take Daniel Jones out of a game a few times. Listen. It's faster than Lamar Jackson, brother. I don't know what to tell you. Have you seen the stats on Next Gen? He's way faster. No, listen. There's a lot of bad quarterback play out in the NFL, and there's a lot of teams. We didn't even get to the Saints. I don't even want, can we skip the Saints? Do we have to get there? Because I don't want to talk about that situation whatsoever. It's embarrassing.
For your sake, Josh, no, we will not. But I do want to ask you about the New York Giants. So, Big Game Jamie Pirogue took Jackson Dart at the 301. Jackson Dart is allegedly the successor to Daniel Jones after Brian Daboll decided, hey, Daniel Jones, you're getting benched here. I'm tired of you. Oh, guess what? You're the fourth string quarterback now. And then Daniel Jones responds with, well, if this is the way you're going to treat me, then release me. Okay, see ya. And then they just let him go. And then he becomes a Minnesota Viking, and I don't think he got much playing time over there. And now he signs a contract to compete with Anthony Richardson for the Colts. So Lou did bring up that Daniel Jones had to get taken out of a game quite a few times now. And now we have Jackson Dart in New York, who's going to sit behind Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, hoping to learn the ropes. Is Jackson Dart in the right organization to be able to do what a lot of rookie quarterbacks have had to do? Sit behind him, maybe sit behind somebody for like 2 years like Jordan Love had to do on the Packers. What do you think about Jackson Dart?
They got to blow up that coach. Like physically, take him on a rocket like Buzz Lightyear, strap it on him. I want you to just like that match and put Dayball to the moon. Just throw him to the moon. He's been the issue. I don't understand why. What photos does he have? How does he still have a job? He has never been anything in the NFL besides the years he's had Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. I cannot comprehend how he even has a job still. But besides the point, I think he is in a good spot here because he doesn't have to play this year. He shouldn't have to play this year. Russell Wilson is sneaky. I know this is again sneaky good at football. I know people hate him, but he's been sneaky good at football for a while, even after the Seahawks. Yeah, he had a rough season with Denver year one. Then he kind of bounced back. And Pittsburgh last year, he was fine. He's going to be okay there. And I think he's going to be able to learn a little bit from Russ, like the dorky side. Here's how you prep. Here's how you do. And then, boom, we're going to sling the ball with Jameis. Like, I love this. Best of both worlds, right? We got the weirdo dude. We got Jameis, the goofy guy. We're going to be throwing it deep, keeping it business, though, as usual. Seriously, though, I think this is perfect for him. I wish Jameis was a starter, though. I wish Jameis was out there throwing the ball.
If you don't want the same amount of touchdowns as interceptions, you don't want to start Jameis.
You're right. And Lou stole it. Lou stole my thunder in the chat. Yes. It's all about who's next. Because that's where I started with. Throw this day ball. Told y'all. TNT, is it illegal in your state? It's illegal in mine, brother, but we still do it. Tap that, just 4 of them in the back of him, light them all. Boom. And then we get a new coach. Who could it be? Someone offensive minded. Let's give this kid a chance because he's not going to last there with his current coaching staff. Nobody will. Nobody.
I just don't get it with the New York Giants because they will draft all this amazing talent, whether it's on offense or defense. They'll even ruin their offensive linemen like Evan Neal, and there'll be moments where it sounds like they're going in the right direction with offensive talent. They got Malik Neighbors. And Josh, not to call you out too hard on Malik Neighbors, but if I'm not mistaken, last year on FantasyNow Plus, you were worried about Malik Neighbors being ruined by the New York Giants, and then he blew up with a great rookie year.
There's no denying that, dude. Hold on, I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt. I'm sorry, but I'll let you continue. But there ain't no denying that. That's okay. Say it with your chest, brother. I hated Malik Neighbors last year. That's fine.
What I was going to ask you about that part, though, is do you see him having a sophomore slump, or do you see him doing just as well with Russell Wilson and or Jameis Winston?
I see him being a super stud this year. I see him. He can easily finish 1, especially if Jameis ever gets in there. The problem last year was the lack when he did not get the 17, 18, 19 targets in the game. He was kind of just average, and you could look up the stats. They're right there. I don't have them in front of me, but it was true. He needed the volume because of the quarterback play. He needed it because of the offense. You're going to get a consistent guy there with Russell Wilson, who made Cortland Sutton look good. Cortland Sutton had a very good year last year. I mean, the year before with Russell Wilson. Good year with Bo Nix too. But Neighbors can definitely succeed with Russell Wilson and Jameis throwing the ball. Even Jackson Dart, I have confidence. My thing was with Neighbors was I had him number 1 as my wide receiver. I had him 1 before the draft. I thought he was the best receiver coming out. And then he went to the worst possible spot. And so I was just crushed. That's 1000% true. He was my number 1 guy. And he got crushed. And I'm like, F this guy. I had him above Marv. And I'm like, he went to the wrong team. Flip-flop these guys, please. Because I want Neighbors with Kyler. Because I don't care what happens to Marv. I love Neighbors. And now I still love Neighbors. I do. I'm drafting them everywhere. It's not like I hate them.
That's reassuring to hear. So on that same energy, Josh, I'm wondering, based off of all the rookies that were drafted here in our mock, are there any other that you are worried about in the back of your mind that might be a bust, but also have a great chance to break out and succeed? Because I'm not trying to set you up to be wrong a second time. I want to give you a chance to redeem yourself here. Well, who do you think that you might be worried about based on their situation, but will probably end up blowing up and being a great success?
It's so difficult with these guys because you automatically go to the second round, right? And in all rookie drafts, you go to the second round and go, who are these guys? Trey Harris, Scatterboo, Blue, Taylor. I am so worried, and we're going to stay in the same theme. We're going to stay in the same team. We don't got to move far, guys. We're going to go with running back, though. I'm so worried about Scatterboo. I'm so worried about him. I'm so worried that he is going to just flop in New York because, guys, it's a trend. Evan Ingram sucked in New York. He went to Jacksonville. He was really good for a very decent amount of time. Everyone, when you leave New York, you do better. When you go to New York, you stink. I'm worried about Cam Scatterboo, but I can easily see him being awesome there. And I'm just being a hater on him, and I can't bring myself to draft him. When you hear things like he's got the grit, there was a word today that came out. He's got the edge. He's got that edge in him. When you start using that with players like that, where he's already an overachiever, it kind of scares me. It kind of scares me. It kind of scares me.
Yeah. So Scatterboo and what's the name of their second running back? Tyrone Tracy. I have no faith in either of those guys being good at running the football for the Giants this year, which, I don't want to go too deep in the rabbit hole of how they've mishandled Saquon Barkley so badly to the point where all the Giants fans are livid at everybody involved with letting Saquon go to the Eagles to win a Super Bowl. Like, if you're a Giants fan, that has to sting so badly. But when you draft somebody like a Cam Scatterboo to add to the backfield, none of these prospects are exciting that could potentially blow up and be the next Saquon. I mean, if this take ends up aging poorly, I'll eat my metaphorical hat.
I see him as and listen, I don't want to use the skin tone. I see him as Danny Woodhead, bro. Like, he's going to be catching balls. He's going to be making plays. He's dynamic. Like, I like the talent. I just don't like the scheme or the offensive. I don't like anything about this pick. If he would have went, like, think about this guy. If he would have went anywhere run friendly, I mean, that's really, and you can say that about any running back, but especially for him, I think he'd be in the first round because people want him to succeed so much. He falls under the category of the Lab McConkeys, of the LaVisca Chenaults, of the people that we just want to succeed. No matter what we do, we want this guy to succeed, and he's one of those guys. I'm seeing Trey Harris a lot too. People want Trey Harris to succeed so much. They want him to succeed so hard, and so do I. And Luke brings up in the chat, did you want Neighbors to go to LA? Heck yeah. Right on, brother. That's a perfect spot for him. So hopefully Trey Harris could, you know, not be like Neighbors because that's hard to do, but at least be that secondary talent there, because they don't have anyone next to Lad. Anyone. I mean, look at the tight end drafted for 412, Gadsden. Like, are we going to be hyped about him? Are we hyped about Quentin Johnson still? No, I'm not. So Trey, no. And honestly, I'm not even hyped for Trey Harris. I'm just hyped for the opportunity. Like, that's it. So he's another one that I've been actually like fading, but buying because I don't want to miss out. I don't want him to be the next Neighbors I miss out on.
Yeah, Quentin Johnson definitely had his chances to rise up and start showing what he has to be a starting wide receiver. But when they drafted Trey Harris, that seemed to be going out the window, where Johnson maybe can win the wide receiver 3 spot, but being that he's got the reputation known for having bricks for hands, they had to go draft hands for Quentin Johnson in the form of Trey Harris, where I like the potential that he has to offer, because Ole Miss wide receivers, I may be biased with Ole Miss wide receivers, but I love him. A.J. Brown being another one, but Trey Harris is just not A.J. Brown. If he plays great alongside Lad McConkey, then yeah, that's going to be one heck of a hit for years to come. Everybody was doubting Justin Herbert when Jim Harbaugh took over as head coach of the team, but this is now a respectable offense, and adding Trey Harris and then drafting Omarion Hampton, this is looking like a team in the AFC West to fear.
I'm just worried about their pace of play. I wrote this down a couple weeks ago. Last year, they were 3rd or 4th last in plays called in the NFL. That, like, there was 3 teams that were tied for last. There was 1 team that was like 0.1 better, and then there was the Chargers. So the pace of play needs to step it up. I don't have faith. How are they going to get the ball to Harris, Ladd, Hampton, right? We got all these players. We need to run plays. We need to run the offense. Kind of like how the Bengals were a couple of years ago. So slow, just very slow. That's how they played last year. And I'm not hating on them for that. Win football games, it is what it is, but it's hard. They can't all score touchdowns if they're only snapping the ball like 50 times a game, when other teams are doing, like Washington, 66 times a game 66 plays a game last year. That's a big difference. That's almost like 12 carries per game for someone. That's like 12 targets taken away from somebody. That's huge. And that happens in Los Angeles.
So, Josh, I normally ask this question for every show after the mock draft concludes, but without the context of the rest of the fantasy football team, I'm not going to ask like an in-depth question, because this is only a 4-round snapshot of adding rookies. But I'll ask this anyway. Whose collection of rookies out of 4 do you like the most?
Man, I'm not going to pick myself because I already said I hate my team. But I'm going to go ahead and say, man, it's tough. All right, I made my decision, guys. I'm going to go Brock's Gym. Not because he's part of the team. He is. I'm not going to say it. But Henderson, Higgins, he's got a very, very good opportunity there. There's no one behind Nico Collins I even trust. And Arroyo, we talked about him. He could be something there. He's someone being talked up about. So that's what you want in your 3rd rounds. That's what I aim for in my 3rd rounds. Upside. Somebody that's going to bring that value. And yes, all these guys have upside in the 3rd round. You know, Neal, Milrow, Marks. But who's going to give me that immediate upside? Fant was just released. Boom. Arroyo's right there. That's the immediate upside. So I like Brock's team the best.
I like to hear it, and then we'll have to see if Shedeur Sanders does anything in the NFL if he gets the opportunity. So, yeah, I like what you had to say about that part. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to start wrapping up the show for the evening. But before we do that, I'd like to talk about a few good sponsors of Optimus Fantasy that have done good things. And before we do that, I want to go into our Discord server, the Optimus Fantasy Discord server. If you're not in our Discord community yet, what are you even doing with your life? I'm serious. That's where the real action happens 24/7, and it's completely free to join. We built an incredible community where you can get everything you need to dominate your leagues all year long. We're talking best ball advice, DFS lineups, live NFL draft coverage with real-time updates, deep dynasty discussions where we debate rookie values and trade strategies, and some of the sharpest NFL betting insights you'll find anywhere. But here's the thing. It's not just about the content. It's about the community. You've got thousands of fantasy fanatics in there sharing advice, breaking news, celebrating wins, and yes, commiserating over those brutal bad beats. Whether it's 2 p.m. or 2 a.m., someone's always in there ready to talk ball. Check out the link in the show description now. It takes 30 seconds to join, it's completely free, and I guarantee it'll level up your fantasy game. Come hang out with us. Also, Fast Draft Fantasy. All right, Fantasy fam, let's talk about Fast Draft. They're absolutely revolutionizing the best ball game right now. They just dropped something called the Rabbit, and this is a game changer. We're talking about a 15-round best ball draft that includes quarterbacks, no kickers, no defenses, just the positions that matter. And here's the kicker, pun mildly intended, you've got a 20-second clock per pick, which means you can knock out an entire draft in about 20 minutes. 20 minutes! Plus, they've got a $50,000 prize pool up for grabs. And because you're a part of the Optimus Fantasy, Fast Draft is hooking you up with a $50 deposit match when you use promo code OPTIMUS. That's OPTIMUS. So head over to fastdraft.app, get that deposit match, and start crushing some rabbit drafts. Trust me, once you try that 20-second clock, you'll be addicted. Also, the Fantasy Football Expo is less than 2 weeks away, people. Can you believe it? Time is running out to secure your spot. The Fantasy Football Expo is the premier event where you get to meet your favorite analysts from around the industry, participate in exclusive meet and greet sessions, watch live industry drafts, and hang out with thousands of fantasy football fanatics for an entire weekend at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. This is where the magic happens. Join the Optimus crew in Canton, Ohio, August 8th through 10th for live meet and greets, golf tournaments, cornhole competitions, epic parties, expert panels, and so much more. Weekend experience tickets are almost gone, so you need to act fast. Head over to the Fantasy Football Expo right now. thefantasyfootballexpo.com right now and use our promo codes to save. Optimus-2025 gets you $10 off any gold, silver, or VIP package. Ultimate-Optimus-2025 saves you $25 on the Ultimate Fan Experience. And listen, this includes that Friday exclusive meet and greet ticket where you get up and close and personal with your favorite fantasy football analysts. These are extremely limited. Seriously, folks, with less than 2 weeks, don't miss out on the fantasy football event of the year. Josh, I am so glad you joined us this evening for this late one quarterback rookie mock draft for the Dynasty format. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Hopefully I didn't tank the ratings so bad. Hopefully I didn't draw some people away. I tried to be nice tonight. Was I nice tonight? Was I good?
You were nice enough for me, and that's what counts first. If other people have grievances, we'll just figure out how to work that out. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of Monday Night Mock Drafts with Evan. Once again, I'd like to thank my guest, Josh Kimmel, for joining us this evening. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to FantasyNow Plus on YouTube, as well as the Fins Talk Sports Network as well on YouTube, so you don't miss an episode of No Holds Barred. Josh, tell the people what else you have coming up over the next few weeks or months that they should check out.
Yes, so this Monday coming up, 1 week from now, Cold Brews and Hot Takes is my Monday morning show where I'm going to react throughout the NFL season. The Hall of Fame game is this Thursday, as you said, so we'll be talking about that game and, training camp stuff. Also, No Holds Barred every single Saturday night, 5 p.m. Eastern. We always break down the current news. We watch documentaries. We talk about that as well. So a lot of wrestling, a lot of NFL, and I have a secret Twitter account that's totally dedicated to Pokemon Go. If you find that and you screenshot it and you find out who I am, I'll Venmo you $50.
Ooh, that's a big offer, folks. You better get to looking for that account.
I promise. All right.
Also, thank you to everybody who joined the mock draft this evening, because it is darn near impossible to do a mock draft show without folks like you mocking with us. Next week, we will be going to a 12-team, 1-quarterback redraft PPR mock. Joining me next week for that one is a regular contributor for the Football Guys, Odds Checker, and the Sports Affiliation. And the only hint I'll drop is that he's a major deal in the fantasy football space. If you would like to join us for that draft, please join the Optimus Fantasy Discord server so you can get first dibs on a draft spot. You'll find the link below in the description. Coming to you live on Optimus Fantasy, have a great night. I will see you all next week. Take care.